Hi guys, welcome back. Today let's do a little paint along. I'm working on my painting called Hesitate. This is a print for Patreon, by the way, so if you'd like to get it, there's a link in the description. But anyways, while I was working on this piece, I had an epiphany that I have completely forgotten one of my favorite steps for probably at least a couple months, and I don't like that. It's one of the things, one of the steps that makes me feel the most excited about working on a piece and the most connected to it. And it was strange when it hit me that I haven't really been thinking about it and then incorporating it for a little while now. And it feels very transformative for the piece. Anyways, let's just cut to the chase. Let's talk about it. Let's name the thing. And the thing is tiny details. I love planning out these little details that I can add to a painting. Essentially, they're pretty much always at the end of the piece. That's where I can get to these really fine details in clothing or in little imagery that will be added to the painting to help tell the story, to just add more interest. There's just so many benefits that come from that, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, I used to really look forward to this step, and I think that I just got into like a rushful mindset where I was working more quantity than quality. I felt like I got a little, or I definitely got behind in the way that I was approaching my work this year. So I've been getting a little more down to business and not really getting into the moment of enjoyment with my pieces. So I think that that's really just where it stemmed from, is that I was trying to produce them quickly, and then I wasn't really taking the step to consider what details I could put in at the beginning. I wasn't taking the step at the end to look at a piece and decide where to add details. And that's usually how I figure out what is going into a piece like that. And yeah, and then I didn't include that step enough times in a row, and then it just kind of slipped away, and then my pieces, for me at least, felt like they were lacking a little bit of something. And I think there is a lot of magic that comes from those little details that can be added to a piece to help make it feel more alive. So yes, I want to recommit to that. It won't be a hard recommitment. I absolutely love doing this step. I love thinking about it. It's just really engaging. But yeah, let's talk about some of the benefits that come from adding little details to your piece. Of course, this all depends on your style, your approach, what you're actually trying to say with your work. But for me personally, when I'm adding these little details into a piece, it helps me to tell more of the story or the concept or the emotion that I had for the piece. So if I have a feeling in my mind, I can put little images, little details, little motifs within the piece, and that can help tell more of that narrative. And I love looking for little Easter egg moments I can put into a piece, so that if you're looking at all together, there's more clues to what's going on. Specifically in my head, how I interpret it. So being able to put those extra little moments of story into the piece just helps to push that concept a little bit farther. I also love putting them in to just help the character feel a little bit more alive, like they have a personality, like they're living and they have things that they enjoy. So a lot of like the little details in clothing helps to tell that story a little bit more. Details like tattoos. I love painting tattoos. I love thinking about like, what would that character want to commemorate on their own body? Like, what's that second level of storytelling that can be happening? So yeah, looking for more and more details that can help tell that character's story as well as the overarching story for the piece just feels really exciting, and it helps me to think a little bit more deeply about a piece. So even if it is still fairly similar, if I'm doing one piece that I'm not thinking about any of these little details and one that I am, I personally feel like there's more going on with the piece with details, and I feel more excited about working on it. And beyond the storytelling elements, working on little details, it's so much fun. It's just so enjoyable to watch a piece come to life and become more and more complex and have more little moments that your eye catches on to enjoy looking at and dissecting. And it's fun to paint. I love looking for details that I can add that will challenge me. So things that I don't normally paint that I can level up my technical skills to be able to do that. So like working on lace detailing, that I have to be a little bit more precise, and then trying to put myself in the mindset of trying to be clean and consistent with the line work and try to achieve that lace detail that I'm trying to do, or like painting little spiders and studying the anatomy of a spider so that it looks correct. There's just so much information that I don't know, that it's really fun to do a bit of research and then execute it in this small scale so that I can learn from that and get better at it. And then eventually that kind of approach can bloom out into larger areas of a piece that take a lot more focus, more technical skills. It's all just, the more that you practice, the more you stack those skills. It's just fun. It's fun to be able to challenge yourself with these little details. And the smaller they are, the easier it is theoretically to cover up if there is a mistake. So I like to take a little bit more of a challenge for myself in that way, because I know that if it does go really wrong, there are a lot more options for me to be able to course correct it. I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but I almost feel like I need a list of all the things that I want to put in my pieces and a list of things to pay attention to. Like, if it's not written down, I tend to just like forget things. Things slip through my fingers and I forget to remember to think about these things that I care about, that I want to put in my pieces. There's just so many things like that I'm trying to put in my pieces, trying to get better at. And yeah, I am actually someone who really thrives off of having a list, because if it's not in a list, it leaves my brain. So maybe that's not such a bad idea, to give myself a little list of, when I'm working on the sketch, does it have details that I'm excited about? If not, where can I add them? How can I add more story? How can I add more character? Whatever the answer is. And I can have a couple more line items in that list of, before I move on from the sketch, have I thoroughly thought about how good I can make this piece? Or how can I maximize my enjoyment of the painting of the piece? So let's talk a bit about the actual painting of Hesitate. So she is all in watercolors, bigger too. I've been really thinking about moving into larger scale. So this is basically the largest that I paint at all. And I've been really feeling the urge to push myself more, to challenge myself more, to create pieces that are more impactful for me to work on. If it's bigger, I need to focus more on the sketch to make sure that it's correct before I start working on the final, because I'm going to be working on it for a lot longer, and the flaws can be much more apparent when it's larger. There's just a lot more challenges that come from working larger that I'm craving. I'm really desiring to up the challenge of my work, to force myself to feel more connected and engaged with each one. So if I'm working on a piece that takes me twice as long, theoretically, I hope that I'll feel more attached to it at the end. That's an idea. But I don't know. I'm mystified in a good way, I guess, by artists that create really large paintings, especially in styles that I find really exciting and engaging. So yeah, I think that that's a direction that I'd like to go more, is working larger. So this is my first step, working in the largest size that I have. And maybe there will be a point where this is one of the smaller sizes that I work on. And I think that would actually be really rewarding as an artist, to spread out a little bit more and give space for technique to grow, for textures and watercolor to get more expressive. There's just so much that I can put into a larger piece. But anyways, yes, I made her bigger. I I really liked this color palette actually. I've been trying to lean more into more of like a simplified approach to colors with my pieces. I tend to prefer the pieces that I do that have like one main color, there we go, color with black and white, and then some extra colors mixed in for like flesh colors. And anyways, I like to have it more simplified in that front. So I'm trying to do that more to make one color really speak for itself, or the mingling of a couple analogous colors. So that's what this is my attempt to do that. And I really love these orange colors for the background. They were just so enjoyable to use. I've actually been finding myself drawing more closely to these warm tones like oranges and yellows, a little bit along the edge of red. I don't know. They're colors that historically I have not been drawn to. I haven't really wanted to paint with. I've really been very cool focused. And I think that there's just like, naturally there's a warmth to it, but also a comfort to these colors. They are so present and prevalent in this season in particular. So like fall, autumn, which is of course my favorite season. It's most of ours. It's the time that I feel the most creative and the most comfortable, and I've been enjoying utilizing that kind of feel more in my work. So I will probably be doing more warm colors, warm tones. I don't know. I feel like I'm on the edge of exploring new things with my work and figuring different paths out and things that I maybe don't like doing anymore, and being able to give that a name and moving away from that, and then moving more into things that I really am very interested in and curious about. And I know we're well past this step, but I was so thorough with the masking step for this piece. Oh my gosh, it took me so long, and I hate it. It's so tedious, but I am glad that I did it, and I definitely want to be doing it moving forward. The process of doing it is not fun, but once I do it, the piece turns out so much better. The background is much cleaner and way more expressive. I'm able to get so much more texture or smoothness where I want it to be smooth, because I can control the wash so much more comfortably. So yes, it greatly transforms the way that the piece turns out, but also how much I enjoy painting the rest of it. So it kind of feels like I'm getting some of the suffering out of the way at the beginning, and then I can really enjoy the next step. So I'm committing to actually masking. I'm using a masking fluid and a lot of masking tape, and then some I think it's like a cellophane, kind of a waxy paper stuff that I have in my studio, and I am like collaging that all together to cover the areas that I don't want to paint, and then I can just have at it when it comes time to painting. It took forever to peel it off too. That was longer than I anticipated, but not unpleasant. That step wasn't so bad once it came time to taking it off and then revealing the semi-crisp line for the background. There's always little areas that bubble out, and I found, I think currently probably my favorite, and maybe so far the most perfect implement for me for using the masking fluid to apply it to my painting. And that's actually just the back of a paintbrush. So the benefits are, when the masking fluid dries, I can peel it right off my paintbrush. It doesn't ruin the bristles of the brush. And I have several sizes of brushes, so I can have a certain level of size for application for that masking fluid. And then for the really small detailed stuff, I'd like to bring toothpicks down and try that. I didn't for this piece, and it was a little fiddly for the really sharp, crisp areas and like the leaves. But in the future, I think the toothpicks will do the trick of just getting that masking fluid nice and tight where I want it to be. I don't know. And I will say also, after I have applied all of that masking fluid and all those steps, I feel so much more committed to making that painting turn out. I have found that when I have to take steps like that feel like I've already put in commitment and I do not want to do that again, I pay so much more attention to the execution. I tend to have pieces turn out much better, and I think it is simply because I'm putting my mindset in the right place from the very beginning, that it matters, that it's a piece that I want to take my time with and make sure that it turns out correct. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons why masking has been beneficial for me. Don't love it, but love the process, love the end, I should say. So it's worth it. I'll keep doing it. And don't forget, Hesitate, this piece, will be available as an exclusive print over on Patreon. So if you'd like to get a print of her, the only way to do that is to make sure to sign up for the print tier over on my Patreon by the very last day of September. There's a link down in the description that'll take you over there so you can get that if you're interested. And if you'd like the original painting, she is also looking for a home. So there's a link in the description that'll take you to my shop where you can check that out. I also have my new, not new, but it is added to my shop very recently, my tarot deck, and some other art goodies. So yes, thank you so much to all of my patrons, past and present, for your support, and anyone who's ever supported me in any other way. I cannot thank you enough. You guys helped me to actually make art. So thank you. That's it for today. I will see you guys next time, and I hope you have a good day.